Hey guys, in an astonishing move on Monday, former President Donald Trump made his debut at the famous New York State Supreme Court building in Manhattan. Why, you might ask? Well, because of the civil fraud trial that was brought on by Attorney General Letitia James, whose sole argument when she campaigned for the office was, I'm going to get Trump. This is the latest episode of the ongoing saga that is, get Trump at any cost. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. So what exactly is this trial all about? Well, if you listen to the fake news media, Trump is a criminal and he defrauded banks and insurers. People lost money. Little old ladies lost their savings. They have to eat dog food now. Bombs went off. Well, actually, Letitia James argued that Donald Trump had overstated his wealth in order to secure loans and understated it in order to reduce his tax bill. Sounds complicated, doesn't it? But it's really not. In fact, it's something that goes on every single day across America. But James is depending on the dumb vote to not know the details or to understand them. Trump didn't appear at his last trial, so people wanted to know why he showed up on Monday. The former president said, I want to watch this witch hunt myself. I've been on their witch hunt for years, but this is now really getting dirty. And he's right, it is. Here's Trump's evaluation of what's going on. This is inside the courthouse.
This is a continuation of the single greatest witch hunt of all time. We have a rogue judge who rules that properties are worth a tiny fraction, 1/100th, a tiny fraction of what they actually are.
Yeah, what happened was the judge looked at what he based the value of Mar-a-Lago, and the judge said, it's not worth that much, but the judge doesn't know jack squat about property values down in Florida. I was listening to Dan Bongino last week, and he lives in Florida, and he knows what property values are down there because he lives there. He bought a house there. And he had pointed out how much, his house was worth and the size. Trump's is like, 8, 9, 10, 11 times the size. And he said conservatively that he thought it was worth about $700 million. This judge says that even $18 million is overstating it.
We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me. She used this to run for governor. She failed in her attempt to run for governor. She had virtually no polling.
Just nails it.
She came back and she said, well, now I'll go back to get Trump again. And this is what we have. It's a scam. It's a sham. Just so you know, my financial statements are phenomenal.
There you go.
They are actually less in terms of the numbers used than the actual net worth. The actual net worth is substantially more. No bank was affected. No bank was hurt. They don't even know why they have to be involved.
Right.
And they've so testified. They can't believe.
Guys, this is what Marxists do. They stretch the rules. They throw out rules. They get rid of exculpatory evidence, and they don't let you talk.
That they're involved because they were paid back on time. There were no defaults. There were no problems. And it was like a perfect client. In the meantime, people are being murdered all over the sidewalks of New York. There was no victim here.
Exactly right. I couldn't agree more. Now, despite no cameras being allowed inside the courtroom, except briefly in the beginning, where we had a really freaky smile from the judge, which I'm sure some found disappointing that there were no cameras. But we know the former president had a busy day defending himself not once, not twice, but 4 times in media appearances. That's dedication. Here's the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. New York's Attorney General Letitia James, after an arduous 3 years of digging, claims that Trump defrauded banks and insurers in the state of New York. He's seeking a whopping $250 million in penalties and wants to, get this, bar the former president and his adult sons from holding executive business positions in the state. That's a bit too much, don't you think? Justice Engoron, issued a pretrial summary judgment on one of James's claims that President Trump inflated his net worth by anywhere from $812 million to $2.2 billion during the years from 2011 to 2021. And found him liable for persistent and repeated fraud. But here's the catch. In the first case, they didn't even need to prove any harm. It's like saying, well, we think you did something wrong, but we're not entirely sure how it harmed anyone. Brilliant legal strategy, right? In a rather entertaining twist, Trump's lawyers argued the organization's assets were undervalued. An interesting counter, especially when you consider the appeals court ruling from June. Based on this, Trump's team claims about 80% of the case just poofs away. And that's because of the statute of limitations running out. But naturally, Trump's been dragged into court without taking that tiny detail into account. Trump pointed out, quote, banks loved our business. They loved our deals. They weren't defrauded. They lost no money. They made a lot of money, and they considered me a very good client. And this is the truth, folks. The banks did get paid. All of the loans were paid off with interest. There was no victim in this supposed crime. And because Letitia James is a Marxist radical who was in over her head and couldn't find anything in over 3 years of looking, and the judge has no idea how to judge an assessment of property in Florida, the overall goal of the Democrats here is to make it very difficult for Donald Trump to campaign for 2024. And trying to avert yourself looking like a goddamn moron isn't even a consideration, apparently, because they look like morons. So if the banks made money and loved the deals, where exactly is the fraud? I mean, is the fraud hidden in the mysteries of legal bureaucracy? Trump's attorney has a plan, though. He's calling witnesses from Deutsche Bank to prove the bank wasn't defrauded and a professor from Florida to testify on real estate valuations in Florida, not New York. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think any exculpatory defense evidence that Trump puts up will make a bit of a difference. Judging by the way he has been treated already on day one, it looks like Trump was deemed guilty before the ink was dry on the subpoena. All right, so make sure to subscribe to our channel and share our videos with like-minded friends who want to stay informed with what's really going on. Stay informed, stay vigilant, always remember to read between the lines and the lies. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.
Every day I'm looking for a way to return to the time when everything was easy to learn. Don't know when it started to get so serious.